today we have, of course, a man from that needs really no introduction, but we can bring him in. Let's bring the perfect
We're bringing
package
him in
Pete
now?
Magillicutty in. Why the fuck else we got to talk about wrestling? You don't know anything about wrestling. I'm just going to talk to
No,
myself.
you were going to tell me. I was going to ask you a couple of questions
All
about
right,
who won SummerSlam.
we could tell Pete to hang on. Who wants to hang on a little bit?
No,
And
no,
hang it back there in the
bring
green
Pete
room.
in. Bring Pete in. Come on, Pete.
Bring him in.
Bring on, Pete.
We can. I mean, I can chit chat with Tom a little more if Pete's not ready.
Listen,
Pete,
you
you ready?
jabronis, what you doing tonight? This is Pete Magillicutty. That's right, the perfect package. I've come to join the Not Worth Your Time podcast.
Yeah.
Listen, why in the hell did you call this the Not Worth Your Time podcast? You might as well just come on and said, listen, boys, this is Devon. We're going to show you an hour of women's wrestling now, and then they can turn the channel right away and don't even have to pay attention to it the rest of the time.
Well, we shouldn't say that women's wrestling maybe was a joke in the 80s.
Have you
and
watched
90s,
women's wrestling recently?
Oh.
Okay, come on now.
Oh man, you didn't watch the women's wrestling match the other night, or what?
I just watched
Asian lady won?
Medusa. I just watched Medusa take on what's her name? That old Japan lady from the Far East.
Oh,
Well-
was that the same one we watched in AEW?
Yeah,
The one who was
where
taking
Medusa
on the
wrestled
Kanker
the old
sisters?
Japan lady. Medusa, who famously threw the women's championship in the trash on WCW.
Was she
No
never having
respect,
on?
no respect for the business right there. That one didn't.
And tell you what, Matt, that's why I don't know who she is. She broke kayfabe, went on another wrestling program, and dropped it in there.
Man, let me tell you something about kayfabe.
Oh, you doing?
What about it, Matty? What about it, Matty?
Let me tell you something about kayfabe.
Mhm.
Pitbull, when in Japan, he would get those people riled up as best he could. Now, he was the
What-
greatest. What, Pitbull? He was the greatest heel in Japan. He
You
would
just
try
started
to get-
talking differently. I just wonder if that's what Pitbull sounded like if you were cosplaying him.
Pitbull, what Pitbull would do is he try to get the crowd to chant. He point to this side and go, Hiroshima, Nagasaki,
Oh
Hiroshima.
my god!
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. He would say,
But I mean, he was the greatest heel. They hated him.
You don't say. Don't say. Matty, I can damn well guarantee that was never happening in Japan right there, because those people would come out and taking him out of that ring and dragging him out of the street and beat him down. I did tell you
Why
right
do you
now.
think he's retired?
Did they take wrestling very seriously in Japan?
They
It's much
do.
more
I mean,
of a sport.
they hate him. They can't go
Yeah,
back.
And which promotion did you wrestle in Japan, Matt?
I mean, let me. I don't remember right offhand.
Oh, okay.
Japan
You don't
Wrestling
remember the one wrestling
Federation.
promotion?
He did the
JWF,
JWF.
old Japan wrestling, old Japan wrestling.
The
Old
Japan Wrestling Federation.
Come on,
is what you
man.
said?
Come on.
He did JWF.
Anyway,
what's up?
let's get to Pete. Pete,
Devon.
how you been, man? How long has it been since you last wrestled?
Oh, I mean, I wrestle every week, man. It's
you're
a
still on the circuit.
non-stop. In fact, next week I'm going to be actually later on this week I'm going to be wrestling for the Mid-Upper Fayetteville Federation Heavyweight Championship belt. I'm taking on Otto Von Ruthless. That's right. It's in a steel cage shoots and ladders match. So y'all be ready for that one.
What was the promotion again?
Mid-Upper Fayetteville Federation.
Oh, well, that's a mouthful. You
The
think
muff- the muff
they
belt.
fit, and they managed to fit all? Oh God, that's okay. That's how they managed to fit all that on a championship belt.
You better believe it. You better
Oh,
believe it.
wow.
We do
Is it
the
an
we do the
acronym?
we do the 20 pounds of silver, not the 10 pounds of gold. It's the 20 pounds of silver belt over there. There's got a lot of words on it. You
20
don't have to pay
pounds.
attention to
20 pounds of silver, very soft belt. You think getting hit with a silver belt would hurt less or more?
that. Nah, it hurts just as bad. I promise you.
Yeah, I actually picked up an actual replica belt the other day. They are heavy, and I'm like, this would hurt to get hit in the head with. This would actually hurt. I understand why they fall down and usually get pinned. Of course, nowadays, all the false finishes. Pete, do you like the current wrestling of today?
I got to tell you, Devon, I'm very disappointed in the current wrestling business. I mean, it's just these guys today. They don't understand selling. They don't understand, promotions. They don't understand how to gig themselves. If you know what
I
I'm
don't
talking
even
about.
know any of them.
They-
That's how
Mateo,
bad they
you
are at
shut up.
promotion.
Matty, I don't listen to this crap from you. I'm talking to Devon over here. He knows what he's talking about.
Boy, he's firing off barrels at you.
I know he's
Matt. I
double
want to call you
barreling.
Pitbull. You look just like him though. That's why I want to call you that. So you're not a big fan of the no sign. You don't think that these kids today, there's like 47 false finishes every match, and the finishers don't matter. They get stabbed and shot 7 times, and then they get beat with a roll up. You don't like that?
Yeah, exactly. Back in my day, now see, I come from the older school of wrestling. When
What
we'd
years
actually
what years were you active, Pete?
I've been active in wrestling since about 79, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, I've been actually in wrestling longer than that, but back in 79 is when I really started actually getting action in the ring, if you know what I'm saying. I was just a little ring rat before that, running around, setting up the rings and doing whatnot, getting the wrestlers their coffee, as they say. But
how shocked were you at Vince McMahon's being blown up?
Vince McMahon,
of course.
Listen,
on time, Matt's already trying to transition to Chris Benoit. Can you please hold on to the Chris Benoit talk? Please.
I said
we go on like 10 minutes. And he's like, yeah, but that was the storyline that was happening at the time. That
was it? I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that.
Did you really not know that?
I did not know that.
Listen,
because he literally blew himself up, and then he was going to go, I guess, on vacation or whatever he's going to do, and then this maniac murdered his family and himself, and he had to come back on television and go, guys.
See, this is what I'm talking about no selling. You don't get yourself blown up in a goddamn limousine and then come back to TV the next week.
You think Vince McMahon should have never returned to wrestling?
Exactly. If he comes out, he's got to be all scarred up, got his freaking walking on one ham hock, as they say, and maybe probably an eye patch or something like that.
Cut a leg off.
He should have come out in a burn victim unit.
He's completely covered.
How you sell.
He's wrapped up like a mummy.
Listen, boys. Freaking Ric Flair got into a plane crash back in like 76. He had to no-sell that because he was traveling with one of the other members of the other faction. So they couldn't say that the heels and the baby faces were traveling together. So he had to no-sell that he was in a plane crash. That's how you sell, boys. That's how you sell.
It's funny you say, because I just told Matt that story on vacation.
He did. He did tell me that. He told me that Saturday.
And they got in a plane crash, and he gave a fake name to the cops after being in a plane crash. So that way they wouldn't think that they were together, because back then people thought wrestling was real. I'm watching old wrestling clips of like Dusty Rhodes wrestling some guy, and the crowd's going fucking nuts just for he's like hitting him and punching him in the elbow, and the crowd's losing their mind, dude. I mean, these guys had guns pulled on them, knives pulled on them, had their tires slashed, all kinds of shit back in the day. People thought wrestling was for real, and it is for real.
Exactly. I have to cover my head up because there's nothing but scar tissue up here.
How old are you now?
I've been let's see, I just turned over to the 73rd birthday, 73 birthdays under my belt now. 73rd. I'm 73rd years old, and
that tracks. That means you started wrestling about. You were almost 30 when you started wrestling?
Yeah, something like that. Like I said,
40 years ago.
I was basically born in a ring by the time it was all said and done. My mom was a ring rat, them girls that used to hang around and take
family
care of
ring rats.
You know what I'm saying?
Was your dad also a ring
rat? A lot lizard or something like that?
My dad was a wrestler.
Oh, so your mom was a ring rat. Is that like a lot lizard? Yeah, is that what
exactly?
So you were a ring rat.
Thank you, Dave. Oh, well, I was a ring rat for a little while. If you know what I'm saying. You gotta get into the business. However, you gotta get in.
I get it. You said you were getting some action in the ring in '79. So, were you having sex with grown men, with grown wrestling men?
Oiling them up.
Listen, we don't. That's kind of like that Dark Side of the Ring show. We don't talk about everything. We don't talk about it. We like to keep the dirty business in the ring. If you get what I'm saying.
I don't kiss and tell either, so I understand. I understand completely. Man's got to eat. Man's got to eat. So who was your first match against? Can you walk us through the whole thing from start to finish?
Oh God, it was ugly. This was back in Tulsa. I don't know if y'all have ever been to Tulsa, but it's terrible town.
And I believe that's Mid-South wrestling back then.
Yeah. Oh, probably. I don't think I ever qualified for those fancy dance promotions. We were doing a little bit more guerrilla style, but
I don't know. Please explain what guerrilla style wrestling is.
Behind the 7-Eleven.
And please don't be.
We'd set up a ring damn near in any parking lot you could find. We'd put a couple cars together, start wrestling. I believe I took on.
Hold on a second, please. Hold on a second. You'd put a couple cars together and start wrestling.
Exactly. You gotta make a ring wherever you can make a ring.
You're taking bumps on, like, you put two cars, like what kind of, like together or like side by side, and you would take bumps on them. Did you put ropes at all?
Put a bunch of cars. Exactly.
Did you fight side by side?
Ropes. What do you?
No one knows
ropes.
What that is, man.
We didn't have money for ropes back then, son. Come on, this is Tulsa. Nobody had money for nothing.
Tulsa's a nice place.
We talking about Oklahoma?
I was taking on Fat Jim Mogert back then. He went by the name Grizzly Bear and took on that Grizzly Bear numerous times a week. I got to tell you.
You wrestled a bear numerous times a week?
No, he called himself Grizzly Bear, son. Come on now.
Okay.
You think I walk around telling myself I'm the perfect package? Man, I used to be called the California Crippler, but they had to change my name for some reason a few years back. They
political correctness. We can't keep it.
Yeah. They said it couldn't go by California Crippler anymore. Didn't quite understand that, but
and there was
I do
a guy
do what I can.
That used to do the Crippler crossface, and we don't talk about him.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know anything about that. But
like I said, know about Chris Benoit? Wait a minute. You don't know who Chris Benoit is?
I know exactly who Chris Benoit is.
You brought him up, and I haven't said his name. I had lunch
with him last week. What are you talking about? Him and Owen Hart were at the diner.
Wait a minute. You had lunch with Chris Benoit.
And Owen Hart. Yes, I absolutely did. 100%.
And Owen Hart. Okay. Owen Hart didn't even die of like anything. Oh, okay. All right, sir. I understand.
Exactly.
Look, kayfabe.
He didn't die. You're correct. He didn't die of anything. You were correct.
I understand you're trying to keep. They announced he died on television. They announced both of them died on television. Are you saying they were just kidding?
There was a man called the Blue Blazer. There's a man called the Blue Blazer.
So you're telling me when JR looks in the camera and goes, guys, this is not part of the entertainment. Owen Hart has died. That was all kayfabe?
It's kayfabe. Kayfabe. That's all there is to it. Son.
So what's Owen Hart up to now?
Just eating diners. That's all it is. It's nothing big.
Diners with Tupac, man. He's just...
Is he back in Canada?
You better believe it. You better believe it. Why would he come to America these days? Come on now.
That's true. The economy.
That's right. He was Canadian.
He was a Canadian fella. They wrestled with Stu Hart. Canadians, Stampede Wrestling. I mean, they're people.
Canadians are crazed wrestlers up there. Crazed wrestlers.
Yeah, Stampede Wrestling was big up there, and so was what's the other promotion that was up there? I don't know, Pacific Northwest. That was more. But anyway, Stampede Wrestling, Stu Hart, the wrestling dungeon that Stu Hart cranked out a ton of
famous wrestling dungeon. I was never cool enough to go to the famous wrestling dungeon. I went to there was a place underneath a guy's cabin out in the woods. I don't know what it was called. He didn't refer to it to no dungeon, but it was what it was.
Okay, so you went to a strange man's cabin. Was this the Grizzly Bear?
No. That was Maple. Right. That was Maple Syrup Jones up there. He was quite the guy.
What is
another
Maple
Canadian
Syrup Jones? Weird. Yeah, that seems like a Canadian fellow.
You haven't seen him wrestling? Yeah. Exactly.
So when you started in '79 and you wrestled and you got into it, did you ever get a stiff or a stint in the WWF? A stiff? Did you ever get a boner? No. Did you ever get a stint with WWF? Or WCW?
Listen, I wrestled on a lot of undercards, if you get what I'm saying there. So we'd sometimes wrestle like outside across the street from where these other WrestleMania 3, I was there, granted, but I was at the Waffle House next door, and we were just kind of doing what we could to kind of get a crowd going, if you get what I'm saying. So.
Well, wasn't WrestleMania 3 the shitty one? Wasn't that the really bad one?
What? No, it was like a world record holder for a long time. They had
I thought 2, 3, or 4. One of those was really bad. They weren't really good.
Okay.
Wasn't like
everything
Andre
else besides
Hogan
3
really good.
is terrible. You're right, but 3 was okay. 3 was okay.
I thought it wasn't that Steamboat and Randy Savage. Is that WrestleMania 3? Or
exactly. Now there was a man that could sell right there. There was a man that could sell right there. Randy Savage. Now, do you think Randy Savage is still alive? What? No, that poor man passed away. What are you talking about?
Okay, so
disrespecting the dead. Good grief, man.
So the Americans are dead, but the Canadians are lying.
To be fair, Benoit was Canadian. That's right. So to be fair, Benoit didn't die in the ring like Owen Hart did. He died outside of the ring.
He didn't die.
His home in Georgia.
You could have stopped your sentence right there, and you would have been fine.